Welcome to art. I am so happy you're here. If you need to run to the restroom, grab a sip of water before we start, that is fine. The project portion of this video starts at 4 minutes, 30 seconds, but I would love for you to join me here as we do the brain dance and learn a little bit about what we're about to make.
Brush it out. Brush your arm out. Nice. Brush it out. Get the whole thing brushed. Perfect. Nice and brushed off. Other arm. Brush it off. Beautiful. Whole thing fully brushed. Great. Tap it out. Nice. Give your arm a little tap. Feels like a massage. Nice. Pat yourself on the back. You're doing great. Nice. Other arm. Pat it out. Pat your arm out. Great. Nice. Pat yourself on the back. Good job. All right. Now we're going to do the run. So the run is you squat in the center. Your legs are spread out a little bit. You kind of squat down, hands in the center, and then you run this way. And you kind of bounce into it. Then you bounce back to the center, and you run this way. Bounce in the center, run, middle, run, middle, run, middle. One more time, great. Run, back to the middle. Awesome. Now we are going to rub our fingertips. Rub your fingertips. Great. Get them nice and rubbed out. Ooh, yeah, great. Other hand, rub them. Rub your fingertips. Nice. Milo. Rub my fingertips. Yeah, you can rub your paws if you want, Milo. Okay, now we're gonna do the X dance. We're gonna stand in an X shape, and you're gonna dance with one side of your body. So these limbs, keeping the other side still. Great. Other side. Trying to stay balanced. Keeping this side still, but moving this side. Great. Back to your X. Nice. Milo, what should we do next? What should our last move be? Let's end with a chop, a rainbow chop. So over our body. Good job. Now we're ready to make.
Asynchronous class norms. We're present. We're focused on the lessons. We have our eye on the time, so we make sure to be back when we need to be. We keep food and drink away from our device. And if we finish early, we're welcome to check out the Seesaw post for more activities. Today, we are making artwork inspired by textile art. Textile arts are arts and crafts that use plant, animal, or synthetic, meaning non-natural, fibers to construct practical or decorative objects. So here we see a basket and a decorative rug. Both are examples of textile art. Textile art can be found all around the world and has a bunch of rich histories. Here's some examples of textile art on looms or weavings from Oaxaca and Hidalgo, Mexico. Other countries with diverse relationships with textile art are India and Pakistan, but everywhere around the world has their own relationship to textiles. Some contemporary textile artists, or artists who are still living and working today, are Pia Camille, who uses clothing and garments to focus on Mexican urban landscape. Here's a really fun participatory piece of hers where you can pop your head in and see other people with their little heads popped out. There's also Faig Ahmed, who focuses on rethinking textile traditions of Azerbaijan. You can see he makes these really awesome rugs that sort of melt and change shape as they hit the floor. To make our own textile-inspired piece, you'll need 3 sheets of construction paper or any type of paper as long as they are same size and different colors or surfaces, scissors, glue, scratch paper to use for a glue pad. I use newspaper, and coloring materials of your choice. Our objectives are to identify that artwork can have multiple purposes, Just like a blanket can be cozy, but also decorative and artistic. And we are also going to create a work inspired by textiles. You're going to want to start out with one of your papers and fold it in half, hot dog style. So instead of looking like a hamburger, it's going to look long and narrow, just like that. Make a nice sharp crease. Great job. Now on the open side, that is the side opposite of the side with the crease on it, so it'll be the long side with the opening, you are going to make a mark roughly the width of your finger from the edge of that side on either end. And you are going to use a ruler or a straight edge like a folder or a notebook to make a mark that goes across the page. So just like I'm doing here, I'm going to use a folder and I'm going to line it up on those 2 marks that I made. And I will make a line that goes across the page. It'll make sense why. So again, on the open side of the long folded paper, the side opposite of the crease. And it'll be about a finger's width from the edge. Now I'm going to use my finger to measure on the creased side, the folded side, little tick marks, they're called. Great, so do that across the whole folded side on the same side of the folded paper that your line is on the open side. Now we're going to cut from each of those tick marks. Those tick marks again are on the folded side of the paper. We're going to cut a straight line from the tick mark and stop at that first line that we made. So we don't want to go to the edge of the paper, so that's why we measured that straight line on the open side of our folded paper at the beginning. So you'll go ahead and cut those strips from the tick marks. And just to keep it going. Great work. So when you open your paper, and go ahead and take that nice and slow so you don't rip anything, but when you open your paper, you should see that you've made yourself a sort of makeshift loom with these strips that you can weave through. Woohoo! All right, so our next step is you're going to take the 2 other pieces of paper that you have, and just like you did with your loom, you are going to fold those 2 pieces of paper hot dog style. In half, hot dog style. Perfect. Doing great. And once you have folded those 2 papers in half, you are going to open them back up and then cut down that center crease, because you will only need half of each of these papers, and the other halves you can save for another project. So you can use your finger as a measuring tool, but on either of the short ends of your pieces of paper, go ahead and make marks that are a finger's width apart on either side. And then you will use scissors to cut strips going from one mark on one end of the paper to the matching mark on the opposite end of the paper. So you'll be making long strips. You can change the shape of your strips a little bit. Maybe you put a little bit of a wavy line in one, maybe a little zigzag line in the other. So long as they generally keep that strip shape and go from one end of the page to the other. Perfect. And so you will use your 2 halves of paper and make sure that you turn both halves entirely into strips that you can work with for your weaving. Step 3 is to weave. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So exciting. Okay, so here we go. Pick one of your strips and we will start weaving in the top of our loom that we made. So you'll go under the second strip, over the third, under the fourth, over the 5th, under the 6th, alternating whether or not you go over or under each of the strips of your paper loom. You can see up here on the screen that weaving has warp and weft strings. The warp strings are the strings of the loom, so the green strings here, and the weft strings, or in our case strips, are the strips that you weave through the warp. And every time you weave through a weft string or paper strip, it should be in the opposite pattern as the strip before it. So our first strip went over the green, under the green, over the green, under the green. So the second strip, which will be an alternating color, so for me a black strip, went under the green first, over the green, under, over. So it'll be the exact opposite pattern as the weft strip before it. Might take a little time to kind of figure your fingers out and how to make this the easiest. Might be a little challenging, but that's good. It's awesome to figure out how to make, how to learn how to understand things, or how to understand how to do things best. So I'm going to do the opposite of the black strip with this orange strip. I'm going to go over, under, under. So it'll look the same as my first orange strip. Great work. Once you've finished, it's optional. You can glue down just the edges, so wherever your strips reach the edge of the paper loom, you can glue down those edges so they'll stay put. Honestly, without glue, they stay pretty well put. So that's just something you want to do if you want to make it super permanent, but just an option. Step 3 is to decorate your weaving with your choice of coloring materials to make it a little more personalized. I was really drawn to the shapes that were made with the strips and loom combined. So I'm sort of outlining where those shapes are, but you can decorate however you would like. I am so excited to see you and your artwork. I hope you have a wonderful day. Weaving reminds me of all the frustration and fun we had with weaving my first year at Northgate, and it's such a nice warm reminder of how grateful I am to be with all of you.